Senator from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask consent that the Senate resume legislative session.
Without objection.
Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise today in recognition of Black History Month. Black History Month provides an opportunity for our nation collectively to reflect on and celebrate the contribution and legacies of Black Americans. And while we have chosen this month, February, to engage in collective celebration, we must also remember that we benefit from the contributions and legacies of these great Americans every single day. Today, I would like to focus my remarks on our nation's Black entrepreneurs. From Madam C.J. Walker to Baltimore's own Reginald F. Lewis and beyond, Black entrepreneurs have long been vital to the success of the American economy. Unfortunately, throughout history, those who seek to hold back the progress of the Black community view the successes of Black entrepreneurs as a threat. One need only look to the 1921 Tulsa Massacre, a dark incident in our nation's history that has belatedly entered our collective consciousness. White residents of Tulsa, Oklahoma, bombed, burned, and destroyed the Greenwood district. In addition to an untold number of lives lost, estimates range from dozens to hundreds. The riot destroyed homes, churches, schools, and businesses in the district. At the time, Greenwood was known as Black Wall Street due to its thriving Black middle class and successful businesses, and its destruction was one of the worst instances of racial violence in our nation's history. It is with instances like Greenwood and the dozens like it in mind that I stand here today, because while Black entrepreneurs no longer work under the threat of such violence, they still face many long-standing systemic barriers. My late friend and mentor, former Congressman Parren J. Mitchell, believed very strongly that the federal government had an important role to play in our efforts to right these historical injustices and support Black entrepreneurs. In 1977, Congressman Mitchell fought to pass an amendment to a $4 billion federal public works program requiring city and state recipients to set aside 10% of the funds for minority-owned businesses. He would go on to call the amendment his proudest congressional accomplishment. I was incredibly proud last year to build on his legacy by working across the aisle and finally codifying the Minority Business Development Agency, MBDA, and giving the agency the resources and leadership necessary to help support entrepreneurs in Black and other minority communities. This accomplishment is particularly important in Maryland, as the presiding officer knows, since we are the home to the highest concentration of minority-owned businesses in the country. While we have made progress, we must also continue working together to address these systemic inequities. At the height of the pandemic, we came together to create the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP program, and we worked in a bipartisan manner to improve the program once it became clear that it was leaving far too many of our most vulnerable small businesses behind. We invested in non-bank financial institutions like the Community Depository Financial Institutions and microlenders. We strengthened relationships between the Small Business Administration and our nation's historically Black colleges and universities and minority-serving institutions. We created grant programs that reduce structural barriers instead of reinforcing them. Recent studies have shown that these policies directly address the inequities present during the Phase 1 PPP, which favored larger businesses. Through thoughtful policy, we made the programs more equitable, with the share of loans made to minority-owned businesses during Phase 2 and 3 of the program in proportion with their overall share of small businesses. As I speak here today, the Senate is still trying to find a path forward on President Biden's Build Back Better budget, which implements many of the lessons we have learned over the past 2 years. The bill contains many key provisions that will enable the SBA and MBDA with resources to empower Black entrepreneurs even more. For instance, the Build Back Better Act would create a direct loan program at the SBA. It would create a new Uplift Accelerator program to deepen relationships between the SBA and HBCUs. And it would make the SBA's existing loan products more accessible and affordable. The pandemic has demonstrated that when we come together to address the problems in our society free from partisanship and in good faith, we're able to make great strides. It also confirms that the federal government has a key role to play in addressing the historic injustices that have harmed and continue to harm Black entrepreneurs and the Black community at large. This Black History Month, let us commit to pairing our words with actions, just as we did during the pandemic. We need to enact these proven policies as quickly as possible. We cannot let this opportunity pass us by. Mr. President, with that, I would suggest the absence of a quorum and yield the floor.